Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am back for the meditation. I got up early today, yay, and I was able to get the meditation written. It took me again 2 hours to do. It usually takes me that long. I write about 10 to 12 pages, like this. So 10 to 12 pages of this, and my handwriting is pretty small. So yeah. So that's where we're at. So at any rate, I'm going to instead of pulling cards because I'm using one of the cards, one of the Gilded Tarot cards from um, in the meditation because it's made mention to, and I have to pull it and show it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull Cat Wisdom. I'm going to pull a card for us and see what the card says. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. There's a lot of things happening, and I think that a little cat wisdom could do us good. So there's a little cat wisdom in the meditation, but there's also a little bit of cat wisdom for us. The interesting thing is the backs of these cards, I never showed the backs, but the backs are like paws and they're like in different colors. So you have like all the different colors of the backs of the cards. And what I sometimes do is I say, oh, I'm wearing pink today, so I'm going to pick a card with a pink background. So here's the card with a pink background. And this is, don't waste your time. Look You will accomplish more with a little bit of freedom for the things that are really important to you and that they will bring you forward. And it's in German, so, but there you go. So that's your cat wisdom for today. I sometimes do this when I do ham radio. I actually read a cat wisdom card to my friends on the radio, and they can yeah, they can take it for what it's worth. But cat wisdom is really kind of cool. So, but that is the card for today as far as the cats are concerned. And I think the cats are really cool. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and start with the meditation. I have to put this on the top of the computer here. And basically, what I was thinking about doing was seeing if this would actually work if I could hold it up in front of the computer because the webcam is above the computer. So I have to see if I can do that where I can read it a little bit and then I'm looking a little bit more forward as opposed to looking down. But at any rate, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, and I'm going to go ahead and start reading. And I start with day number 9. It's July 26, 2025, and the title I gave it is Taking Risks. And I said it would seem that the big questions seem to come to light when one least expects it. Should I stay or should I take a chance and forge into the unknown? Ramon says that is when you listen to us. We can help you find the path that is best for you. And I said, and oh wait, he continues. He says, you said yesterday when you were showing those pictures that sometimes the messages that come through are simple things, a picture or an idea. Just because a word's spelling may be changed to suit a theme does not necessarily mean that the magic, that the image is the direction, is not divinely inspired. Did you notice that when you pulled the card for today that it was right at the top of the pack? You did not need to fluffle through the deck to find the specific card. It was right there at the ready for you to begin today. That is the universe working. I said I sometimes question this. Is the universe working for the advantage of all good, or is it only seeing the work for the evil? And Ramon says, you truly think that? And I said, well, given the news of the day, it would seem to me that we are all witnessing the evil doers dodging bullets. If karma is really working, why does it seem as though these evildoers continue to see victory? And Ramon said the victory is an illusion, Yvette. Do you honestly believe that the earth is the end all be all? I said, of course not, but you can understand how jaded I am feeling at the moment. This just seems like that good people continue to suffer and the evil ones seem to get all the breaks. Why is that? Ramon, I know that you're telling me things to offer comfort, but when I see images of people starving or of fat cats going golfing, then yeah, my sense of anger raises. My feelings that these rich people are getting all the breaks. Ramon says the universe has something in store for them. Just wait. I said truthfully, I am tired of waiting. How much longer must it take for justice to prevail? Why must we be the ones to contend with the awful flashbacks of our own lives? Ramon says, you are now venting. Are you angry with me? And I said, no, I'm just frustrated. Ramon, you know about my past. You know that I feel strongly about these particular issues. And Ramon says, yes, I know. And I wish I could tell you that something that's going to help. A lot of those people want to sit in the pits of this misery instead of getting out into the world and exploring possibilities. I said, it's hard to do that. It's rather like the story from the Care Bears. They come to this place called Greytown. Everyone is dressed in gray. They are walking about like zombies, and at some point the Care Bears themselves are affected by the somber mood of the town. That is what being on Earth feels like right now. It is close to impossible to not be affected by the terrible things that people do to one another. No one is learning from history. They seem to be dead set on repeating it. Ramon says, an aggressor cannot be a victim, Yvette. The activities that you are seeing, the atrocities that you are seeing are a question of conscience. When you experienced abuse when you were a child, you were able to see that as a victim of abuse, you would never become an enabler. The decision was so firmly implanted in you that you decided never to have children. You knew deep in your heart what would be the ultimate outcome, and you strive to prevent this form of harm from ever touching your doorstep. The issue with the people, instead of learning and becoming a conscientious person, they are people who have, instead of recognizing that no one deserves to be treated a certain way, that they can only run out and reflect the same evil that happened to them. In psychology, they refer to it as cycles. You broke that cycle when you made a very drastic decision. I said, was it the right decision? And Ramon says, it was the right decision for you. You understood the idea that choices and decisions do have an impact, not just on you, but on those around you. Those closest to you can see this, and they can embrace or reject the choice. Your husband was well suited for you because he wanted for you the best for you. He was willing to do that for the one he loved. Do that as he loves you. He cares for your well-being above all else. I said, I get that sense. I also know that there are others who may not have that sense of stability in their lives. And Ramon says, indeed. So do you feel better? I said, I guess. I still am angry about all of this stuff going on. But I also know that I have no real impact on it, as I can only control how I feel about it. You're right, but do take comfort in the knowing that karma is coming. It is not about your timing of it, but it is coming. My nose is itchy, sorry. Sometimes people have to make certain decisions about things or reap their results, and the fact that so much is backfiring in their faces is proof positive that karma is there and not giving it a rest, if you will. I said, so okay, so should I start the intended part of the meditation? And Ramon says, you can, but I did get a sense that you needed to talk first, to release the sadness that you were experiencing and to get it off your chest. I said, thank you, I do feel a bit better now. Ramon says, that is good. Well, then let us begin. I said, okay. Watching a group of kittens playing, hearing a cat purring, or the gentle meows of a cat wanting to be petted are perhaps some of the most joyful things I can think of. And Ramon says, do you notice how the focus shifted from conditional the conditional nature of mankind to the unconditional love of a pet cat? Do you see how this conjects with your impressions of mankind? This is why you long for the loving assurance of a cat. This is part of what humanity has missed. That sense of innocence that is conveyed in the images you share. I said most animals that we have as pets have that unconditional essence about them. A cat is a very independent animal, but can learn about ourselves watching them. They are not known to take unnecessary risks, just as the card depicts. Um, Ramon says, "What does the card say?" I said, "At an inconvenient moment, don't take an unnecessary risk. Otherwise, you might get your feet wet." And it's all in German, so that's what it translates to. The cat stands next to a stream and it notices that things are not as easy as they appear. The card instructs me that unnecessary risks are not the way to go. The outcome could be disastrous. Given how cats do not like water, perhaps this lesson is universal. And Ramon says it is. The act of taking risks is not necessarily a bad thing. Taking a chance on something in, will ensue that is a good or not so good option. This is where listening and hearing the signs might be an option. You will always sense when a risk is far too great and a challenge and the outcome is not desired. By listening and heeding the inner suggestions may hinder you getting your feet wet. I said, as the third law of motion tells us, for every action, there is an equal or opposite reaction. That means that if we try to walk on water, we will get our feet wet. The cat knows instinctively that if it wants to cross the stream, it must choose a different path. Ramon says, a different path. That is why you interpret the two of the wands the way you do. The card may not always mean to choose a path. But when you look at this card, you can see that the diverging paths could lead you to the same result, but perhaps it is not the same journey in mind. This is why the card becomes a significant one. It is also true that the number 2 often implies choices. I said choosing the right path is not always easy, but sometimes I must practice patience before I venture forward. Ramon says, a universal truth. I said, my guides help me with this, even in the instance when I am uncertain. Ramon says, this is where listening comes in. When you heed the suggestions we make, then you will see that you come through with flying colors. I said, if I listen to that still small voice in my mind, that is my guides telling me what may be a better option. Often when I am taking a test or there are 4 options, the first option that springs to my mind may often be the right or best one. Ramon says, indeed, you did that when you took the citizenship test and you got a perfect score. So yes, this is true. I said, I'm striving to be a better listener so I can keep my feet dry. Sure, I will make mistakes. It is foolish to think that we will never err. We are human and it will happen. We can at least make a level decisions. We can ask our guides, which way should I go? I may not hear a verbal response, but I can allow myself to recognize my feelings about the options. Ramon says, that is us communing with you. When you have a positive response about one option and not a positive response about the other, then you will know which way to go. In connection with our earlier dialogue, you are seeing this play out. The negative options are having an impact on the people, not the ones who are making the choices, are the ones are trying to fit the square pegs into the round holes. Oh, but the ones who are making the choices. They may experience an expected victory, but it will be short-lived. People see the cheating or the dodging that is playing out. And so, is the hit I got a few days ago valid? Were you telling me that the evil woman's words may not have the impact people expect? Ramon says, yes, that is what it's telling you, not to worry about all of that. The real truth will not emerge from a known liar. It will emerge in a different and more dramatic way. Continue. We are getting there. I said, okay. In a 4-choice test, one answer will perhaps seem out of the question. One may appear wacky. The third may somehow feel wrong, and the fourth may be just right. Ramon says that was the suggestion Sunshine gave you just before you took the test. And I said, yes, but it does not mean that one must not study for a test. It means that with this sensation, I might be able to discover the right path or answer. Ramon says, bring it home. I said, we can learn a lot from the animals around us. Cats and dogs have a spiritual insight that is all their own. The purrs of a cat have been proven therapeutic and lower blood pressure. So the next time you stand at a crossroads, remember the cat standing before the stream. Weigh your options. Weigh your options and know that sometimes the situation is impractical. Don't take the necessary risk. If you do, then chances are the result you may not be to your liking. And Ramon says, we have an understanding now of why the world events and this discussion cross. You are seeing the outcome of false choices. You will see the outcomes for these people, and the lessons you can take away from it is to weigh your options, listen, and choose carefully. Once you do all of these things, then choices and options will come easier. The outcomes will also benefit you. So don't worry about the things you have no control over. Just hang on and carry on. I said, I will. Thank you for listening. And as I vent all of these frustrations. And Ramon said, it is what I'm here for, only to help you. Take care, dear one. And I said, thank you, Ramon. And that was the end of the meditation. So, yeah, all of this stuff that's going on is a result of choices. It is the outcome of people's choices of what people say and what people do. And one of the things I wanted to say with regards to this is the other day I was in the bathroom. I think I was brushing my teeth or brushing my hair or something, doing something like that. And I suddenly got this hit. And the hit was that the evil woman who was interviewed yesterday is not going to be the one who spills the beans on what's going on. She's not. Putting any faith or anything into her is just a mistake. So even though we may not be happy with what's going on, putting any faith into her is not going to reap anything. What people need to recognize is that every person who transitions leaves a legacy behind. They they have either a family, or they have contacts or individuals outside of themselves who know all of the things about them. There are people in my life who know everything about me, and they know what kind of person I am, they know what kind of experiences I've had, etc., etc. So this isn't the only person who knows all the secrets. This is the only person we think who knows all the secrets, but there are others who know. This individual did not live in a box. He was not completely isolated from the world around him. People do know. There are those who do know. And the question is whether or not people are willing to listen to them and hear their stories and hear what they have to say with regards to it. Now, that's all I'm going to say with regard to it, but I do want to try something. I want to pull some cards on this, and my guides are telling me to use the Lenormand, and I want to see what what's really going on. And I want to see if this is actually going to what I have predicted or said with regards to this hit about somebody else coming forward and something else, blowing things up. I think in August something is going to blow up. I really do. I just have that feeling that August is when all of this stuff is really going to come full circle. And I notice that when we're looking at news events and looking at things going on in the world, what we see is this sort of like an ebb and flow, like a wave coming in from the ocean. And sometimes you have low tide where there's like nothing going on, and it's like all you see is mud on the shoreline and you don't see any water. And then you have high tide where it just rushes in. And so that's the image that I get is the rushing in of information. And I see waves coming in from the ocean and basically telling us that this is what is going to happen. That we are going to see basically a the waves coming in, and then suddenly all this news is going to come out. And if you thought that July was full of news and events and things going on, wait till you get into August. Because what I understand is that we were in retrograde. Mercury retrograde, I think is what it's called. I don't know much about astrology, but they say that during Mercury retrograde, you don't make big decisions, you don't do big things, huge things and stuff. You just, kind of chill and you kind of go with it. So what I'm getting is this wave or this ocean, and the wave coming in from the ocean and um, telling us that this is that this is just the beginning and that there is more information that's going to come out. And basically, what I'm getting here is the lilies, and I'm not sure what that means, so I'm going to pull the little cheater book and I'm going to see what it means. Now, keep in mind, this book is in German, so I'm going to get to the fun task of translating part number 30. I'm going to get the fun task of translating this on the fly, so we'll see what comes about. The lilies. Leidenschaft. Um, this is about motherhood and the birthing process. And let's see, that there's a lot of tension in the air. That there's a lot of tension in the air. We don't know what's coming. And they this is like the rebirth of something new. So basically, what this I think it tends to imply is that in in the coming months, weeks, and months ahead, we are going to get a lot of new information, new things going on that could happen. I'm going to pull a second card and see what comes up, and I got the ship. New ideas, new journeys. I what I get from this, I may be completely off, but what I get from this is this idea of the journey, the new that this is going to send humanity on a new journey. We're going to go on a new path. We're going to be on a different path than we were, and maybe this will mark the end of this patriarchy idea that that we have to women in general have to accept what's going on. Here's the well. And this is, I think, the wellspring. I think this is like the idea. This is the idea of the waves coming in. This is where you get your water, your nourishment, the things that come up. And this is the wellspring of information that we're going to get. And I think that in conjunction with these other two cards, that we are, we are in the midst of something new coming out, something new, a new beginning, something big that's going to emerge in the news, that we are going to be kind of inundated with that feeling and that emotional draw to it. So, so that's what I got there, and I'm going to see if I can get some clarification on it through the tarot, because I don't see that this is this. I'm still learning. I'm still learning everything. I mean, you, I'm still learning everything. I mean, there's so much here. There's so much information that is in tune with all of this that it is that it is kind of amazing, and it's kind of mind blowing. This card too, and then let me give these guys a shuffle and see what the tarot has to say. But I think that next month we are going to get a lot of new information, and I think that right now we're focusing on the wrong. We've got our focus generally on the wrong thing, on the wrong person, and we need to move our focus away from her and on to, well, let's move it to the victims. Let's move it to the people who really have gone through something terrible and who need to be listened to. But in lieu of that, I think that what's going to come about is that I think that the family of the this monster are going to come out and they're going to tell the truth about the relationship between the two people, between the big fat orange problem and the monster. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to say names. I'm just going to call them that. So what can you tell us about the relationship between the big fat orange problem and the monster? Tell us about the big fat orange problem and the monster. Two of Pentacles. So this is weighing options. This is like, as far as information is concerned. So we've got the I mentioned twos as the words of choice, as the ideas of choice, and I think that this is the options. How are they going to juggle these information that's going to come out? How are they going to juggle it? And it's crossed with the Six of Wands. Look at all the people turning away from this guy. This guy thinks he's got this victory, that he's like everything, the bee's knees and everything but the kitchen sink, and he's just all great and wonderful, and everybody's turning away. They're walking away from him. And I think that this is what's coming. The truth is going to come out through the information, and everybody's going to turn away. And the Magician. That's the one that they're turning away from. This is the guy who has created all this stuff. He's trying to obfuscate and do all these things, and bam, he has obfuscated until the scouts come home, and it's not doing him any good. In the past, you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is the everything is like rosy, everything's coming up roses, everybody's happy, tra la la, all is good, and yeah. Overarching energy is the Five of Pentacles. Being left out in the cold, shunned. This is out, being ostracized. This is being shoved out into the cold. You notice all these pentacle cards that are coming up. This is about the information. This is about the information. And now you've got the guy out in the cold having to contend with it. In the immediate future, Seven of Pentacles. We have the harvest. The truth coming out, all of this stuff emerging, and then you have the harvest of all that truth and all that information coming out. I'm doing a very quick read because this video is getting very long. So, Ten of Swords. Yeah. Betrayal. Somebody's going to get 10 virtual, legal, or whatever swords in their back. How others see you? It's the Nine of Swords. Sleepless nights, worry, concern. I would not want these cards for my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. And then the King of the hopes and fears of the King of Cups. That's the people. Okay, a lot of people are saying, what is the King of Cups? Why does the King of Cups keep coming up? The King of Cups is the people. They are the people. This is in relation to all of this. We're seeing the corruption. We're seeing all this thing. We're seeing the illegality. We're seeing all this stuff going on. And we get the King of Cups. And then that's the people saying, we have had enough of this. We don't want any more. Final outcome is, the Star card. The Star. This is the for me. This is like the illumination. This is like everything's busting right open. Everything's happening. Everything's coming to fruition. And you've got these guys who are trying to pour stuff into one cup to the other. And what ultimately is happening is they are ending up exposed. So that's what we got here. And so that's, I think that's 10 cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that was the read. So there we go. So anyway, so that was a quick read, but I wanted to do it because I just thought this is like, oh my goodness, there's so much going on, and there's so much anger and frustration, and I felt it. The energy feels it, and I'm getting these hits, and I'm getting these things people are saying to me. My guides are telling me, screaming at the top of the rafters. I mean, they're like hanging from the rafters, going ah, and I'm going, okay, okay, guys, I'm hearing you, and they're telling me this is what's going on, this is what's happening. And so what we're doing is we're sitting here in the midst of all of this stuff happening. We're frustrated, we're angry, we're concerned, but this isn't the end all be all of everything. We can look at this and we can say, you know what? Every day we have choices we have to make. We have things we have to do. This goes full circle. This is about us making choices, deciding for ourselves what we're going to take in, what we're going to use, what we're going to do, how we're going to handle the situation, how much news we're going to watch, how much of this stuff are we going to take in, how much of it are we going to just force on ourselves, how much of this. And instead, we could go out, we can make a choice. We could say, okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to enjoy the sunshine, I'm going to get my 6,000 steps in, I'm going to do this, I'm going to clean up the house, I'm going to get the books out of here, I'm going to do this, that, and the other, and just chill. And I'm not going to worry about something I have no control over. And that means turning the TV off, that means turning off the internet, that means going outside, that means doing what you can do for you, what is best for you, and not worrying about what is going on thousands of miles away from where you are. And so that is what this was all about. This was me. This was them telling me quite quite harshly and quite brutally that I have a choice of how I handle these situations and how I deal with things. This will come out. This will come out. Whatever it is, this will come out. The guides have assured me that this is what's going on, that there are outcomes to every choice. And these people are making choices and they are making decisions, and we have a choice too. How do we handle it? How do we handle our feelings about it? And what can we do to better watch out for ourselves? That is what the choice is. And so each of us have that choice to make, and that's what we're going to do. So while you think that maybe this is all a bit discombobulated, the reality is that it all boils down to the choice. And it boils down to that Two of Wands, where you have two options and you have to choose. I have to find the card here. You have the Two of Wands and you have that option. Which path do I choose? Where do I go from here? And the choice that you make with this card or with this idea will lead you to the outcome that you desire. Or it will lead you to an outcome that you do not desire. So, listen to your guides, make your choices, decide what's best for you, and don't worry. Things will get better. They will. I think in August things will start to see that light at the end of the tunnel. And that light will not be an oncoming train. It will be illumination. It will be the thing that we need the most, and that is to know the truth. So, with that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. This has been a very long video. I think it's like almost 35 minutes long, one of my record long videos. But I felt that this needed to be said and this needed to be explored. So I thank you very much for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. Please let me know what you think, and I hope you have a great weekend. And I'll try to be back on tomorrow. Can't make any promises, but I will do my best to be back on tomorrow to do another meditation or read cards or do something. And hope you enjoy whatever it is that you're doing today. So take care. And as always, namaste.